The morning mist clung to the cold sea, muffling every sound. People on the shore felt safe, hearing only the gentle lap of waves. But out in that grey blanket something moved, a Viking longship. Its dragon's head stared forward, carved from dark wood. Behind it more shapes emerged, a fleet gliding toward the coast. They came without warning, just the whisper of oars in the water. The men on board were like ghosts, eyes focused, faces hard. Surprise was their greatest weapon. The longship let them appear from nowhere, striking like lightning. The people on land had no idea what was coming. Imagine seeing it for the first time, a dragon's head rising from the sea. It was designed to create fear, a declaration of power. The ship itself was a symbol of chaos and violence. The ships were fast, agile, able to land on any beach or sail up any river. The longship turned the sea into a highway for conquerors. The serpent had left the mist. The raid was about to begin. Medieval defences were built to face threats from the land. Kings and lords built great stone castles, believing their walls made them safe. But the Vikings did not play by their rules. The longships made these defences useless. The Vikings simply sailed past heavily fortified castles. They used rivers and coastlines as their roads, choosing soft targets, rich but undefended. The true threat came from the water. This was a new kind of warfare, fluid, unpredictable. The longships were always moving, creating chaos and confusion. Traditional armies were too slow, always one step behind. The psychological impact was enormous. No one felt safe. The longships could travel up rivers for hundreds of miles. A farmer miles from the sea could suddenly see a dragon's prow on the river. The terror was absolute. The established order was breaking down. The lords and kings could not protect their people. The walls they built were monuments to a forgotten type of war. The Vikings had changed the map of fear. The water, once a source of life, had become a source of death. The secret to the longship's power was its design. It was a masterpiece of naval engineering, born from centuries of Scandinavian tradition. Oak was used for the keel and hull, pine for the masts and oars. The shape of the hull was revolutionary, long, narrow, and fast. A longship could reach speeds of over 15 knots. The hull was shallow, needing only 3 or 4 feet of water to float. This shallow draft gave the Vikings immense tactical flexibility. They could land on sandy beaches and use rivers as highways. The construction was unique, with overlapping planks fastened by iron rivets. This created a hull that was strong and flexible, able to handle harsh ocean conditions. It was a vessel built for raiding, trading, and conquering. And the construction method of the longship was key to its success. Clinker building, or lapstrake, was a Scandinavian specialty. The keel was laid first, followed by overlapping strakes fastened with iron rivets. This created a light but tough shell. Inside, ribs were tied with flexible bindings, allowing the hull to flex. This flexibility absorbed the energy of waves, making the longship resilient. It could survive storms that would have torn other ships apart. The clinker-built hull gave it a life of its own, moving with the water. This design allowed the Vikings to build long, narrow, and light ships. They could cross oceans and navigate shallow rivers. This technological superiority gave the Vikings an advantage. The longship was a multi-purpose tool of power projection. It was a troop transport, cargo ship, and warship all in one. The clinker-built design was the secret ingredient that made it all possible. The longship altered the economic landscape of medieval Europe. The Vikings were not just raiders, they were traders. The same ship that carried warriors could carry furs and amber. The longship's ability to travel on sea and river gave the Vikings control over trade routes. They connected markets of the Byzantine Empire and Islamic caliphates with Western Europe. They established new trade cities like Dublin and Kiev. Silver flowed west, slaves and furs flowed east. The Vikings became the great middlemen of the medieval world, but this trade was built on fear. The Vikings could demand tribute from towns along the rivers. This tribute brought wealth back to Scandinavia, funding more ships and expeditions. The longship made this extortion possible. The Vikings could appear anywhere, creating a state of permanent anxiety. This psychological pressure was as effective as any weapon. The rivers of Europe became roads of fear. The silver flowed, but it flowed at the point of a sword. The arrival of the longship redrew the political map of Europe. Kingdoms that felt secure found themselves vulnerable. The Vikings created a new maritime empire of coasts, islands, and rivers. This forced European rulers to adapt or perish. In England, Viking raids broke the power of Anglo-Saxon kingdoms. Only Wessex under Alfred the Great resisted by building a fleet. In France, the king gave land to the Vikings, creating Normandy. The Vikings' reach was staggering, raiding Western Europe and founding Russia. They colonized Iceland, Greenland, and reached North America. This expansion had a lasting impact on geopolitics. The Vikings created new political entities and forged new connections. They forced kingdoms to develop navies and coastal defenses. They changed the definition of a border. The sea was not a barrier, it was a connector. Whoever controlled the sea controlled the world. The longship was the instrument of that control. The Viking Age demonstrated the power of maritime dominance. The longship unlocked the world. It was the key to a new era of exploration and conquest. The success of the Vikings offers timeless lessons in strategy. The first is the importance of flexibility. The Vikings adapted to their environment, using the same longship for raids, trade, or exploration. They could fight on water or land, switching roles as needed. Their opponents were often specialized and inflexible. The Vikings were masters of improvisation, using whatever tactic the situation demanded. They understood the terrain, the water, better than anyone. They turned rivers into highways and beaches into landing zones. The Vikings were also masters of psychological warfare. The longship was a tool of intimidation, designed to create terror. They understood that an enemy who is afraid is already half beaten. Finally, the Vikings teach us about the power of disruptive technology. The longship was a game-changer, rendering existing defenses obsolete. Innovation, combined with bold strategy, can overturn the existing order. The Viking Age is long over, but its principles still resonate. The world has changed, but the nature of strategy and power has not. The lessons from the longship remain relevant. In business, agile startups disrupt giants, using speed and innovation. In warfare, special forces strike with stealth and surprise, like Viking raiders. The longship's legacy is a mindset: speed over size, agility over force. The echoes of the dragon's prow still shape our world today.